Man, after taking like a day or two off, and then of course, like I just mentioned in my previous video, my camera is messed up currently, so we're getting that fixed, and just dealing with my dog situation and my fam. So I do appreciate you guys for being patient with me. But once I got back into this chair and I started reading this news, it just couldn't get any worse, man. Xbox now is under some heat because they, or should I say, the CEO, at the new CEO, Asher Shawarma, had put out a statement. This whole thing about rebranding and resetting Xbox. And you want to know what's unfortunate? I completely understand. If PlayStation was doing the same thing, I completely understand. Both companies are literally in competition right now with how many mistakes they've made. I think over the course from 2013 up until now, all these brand deals, all these investments, and allowing the billionaire to jump in and to throw money at them for a 10-year deal, for a 5-year deal, when not being able to recoup and not being able to actually make the money back, and you end up owing money. Look at what happened with EA. They were $20 million in debt. They ended up being sold to partners in Saudi, and we probably will never see the same EA ever again. The next few titles that will come out from them, yes, but in the long future, like 10 years from now, we're probably going to see something totally different come from their side. And what's going on with Microsoft right now is just crazy. So it's been reported that over 3,200 jobs will be cut from Microsoft, including their gaming division, of course, over the course of this year, with today or yesterday starting with 1,600 that they've announced, including like 4 or 5 of their studios like just leaving. So everything they've showed us in that Xbox press conference or Summer Games Fest, half of those games aren't even like part of Xbox no more, or a lot of them aren't even going to come out anymore. And which is super crazy to me because that was one of their best showcases. And just seeing now that even Undead Labs being sold, Ninja Theory being sold, the developers of Hellblade, Undead Labs with State of Decay 3 being sold. We just saw them showcase that, and we were excited for that. State of Decay 3 has been going through development hell, and just seeing everything happening with that game. People are currently playing their alpha, and you just got to realize that that studio has now undergone like layoffs, and not only that, but they're being sold to another company. You have other companies that we're about to read about here too, but let's just read this article. Whoever currently owns an Xbox, bro, even PlayStation, yo, we are going through it. This is a bad change, but I can understand where the CEO is coming from. They've been bleeding money. It's so bad that I seen a piece of the article where they even said they mismanaged making money off of Minecraft. Do you understand that Minecraft is one of the biggest library, one of the biggest games, one of the biggest IPs ever, next to Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft? And they even mismanaged Minecraft and didn't even make the money that they were supposed to be making off of Minecraft. Whoever is in that department should have definitely been held accountable, because how the heck did you guys fail to market Minecraft the way you should have? And it's still a popular game, but they're mismanaging it to where they're not making the profits that game they should be making. It's actually crazy. So it says Xbox to lay off 3,200 workers and 5 studios will leave the brand. It says the industry has been bracing for large-scale Xbox layoffs in the wake of the new administration running the brand. However, today, those layoffs will arrive, and there are some of the largest in video game history. Xbox CEO Asher Shawarma has announced that Microsoft will lay off around 3,200 workers over the next fiscal year, with 1,600 roles being affected today, which was yesterday. And it says the cuts to every studio and effectively every type of role within Xbox. This is which deems unhealthy. So she claimed that it was a very unhealthy situation. She looked at everything. She looked over everything. And as much as she wants to play nice with everybody, as much as she wants to see the brand strive, you have to make a decision like this. I am not saying this because I'm more of a PlayStation fan. I am saying this because when you look at everything, there's channels out there who are dedicated to only Microsoft. I get it. There's channels out there that are dedicated to only PlayStation. But the one thing both fail to realize until they reach a breaking point is you gotta call out when you see mismanagement. You gotta call out when you see some inconsistencies. You know what I mean? But when you continue to play face and you act fake positive towards every single thing, and then when you get backed behind a wall and you realize you have to address now the problems, you get looked at as foolish. Microsoft has been mismanaging a lot of their libraries. It doesn't matter for what reason, for who, it's under Microsoft. Look, PlayStation just dealt with it. They just made their bed, they gotta sleep in it. Okay, they gotta eat shit sandwiches now. They lost almost $1 billion off of Destiny 2 and Marathon. Their game, their IP ain't even worth that much money anymore. That's embarrassing. Microsoft, I remember when Crackdown 3, I think, was coming out, that was like in Recore and all these games. That's when I realized, man, Microsoft, y'all making crazy decisions right now. Games aren't coming out. They were making promises after promises after promises after promises. And then all of a sudden, these games just never came out. We're in development for all these years. That exceeds budget. And that's what happens. Even Arcane Studios, they're looking for a French, like I think somebody from France or somebody's looking to buy them because now Blade has exceeded their budget and it's I think it's delayed internally. That's crazy. A Marvel game like Blade that people want to see, even though nobody's excited about it being first person. That is absolutely crazy. So let's continue to read this. Asher Schwarmer deems that this whole thing is unhealthy. In her very blunt and transparent blog post, the fate of actual studios and games among all this are a bit surprising. However, as of right now, despite these cuts, there are no outright closures of studios, no cancellations of any publicly that have been publicly announced. Any games have been sworn or are going to be kept around, will be kept around, but the situations are varied. Here's what we know about who's and what's affected. So Double Fine has been spun out to become independent and will retain its IP. Now I gotta look up what Double Fine have made. But I know Compulsion Games, they made We Happy Few. It's the same deal. Now its own entity will still have its own IP, so they still have the rights to their IP. Ninja Theory currently in talks to be sold. Plan is to still release Senua, which is Hellblade. Undead Labs currently in talks to be sold, but the plan is to still release State of Decay 3. That's good. And then you got Arcane Studios. This is one up in the air. There are many stages to go through with the French government for either closure, sale, or spinning off. This is crazy. So in this case, the fate of the upcoming Blade is unknown. This is sad. There are some caveats here. This is not to say that even if these studios still exist, that they won't be impacted by layoffs. Games are not canceled now or not guaranteed to make it to the release, especially with these large-scale changes. Though the statement indicates that Ninja Theory and Undead Labs will have the funding to finish projects like Hellblade and State of Decay 3. Thank God they will. So I guess that's part of their contract. They'll still have the budget to do that, but they won't be under Microsoft exclusively. But here's the big thing here. Bethesda, y'all made such a crazy move being sold or selling ourselves with ZeniMax, of course included, selling ourselves to Microsoft. Y'all, I'm very shocked to see that Microsoft is like, hey, you guys, we're gonna focus on Gears, Forza, Halo. We're gonna make sure that Skyrim is gonna come out, that we're gonna work on Skyrim and a few of the IPs. I think Wolfenstein was even included, which I'm very shocked at. I think Doom is of course included, but I'm very disappointed because for one, seeing all this, and I'm gonna just read it here. It says, sources familiar with the situation tells me that the largest cuts are at ZeniMax, Bethesda in terms of targeted studios. Nothing has been announced about specific titles like Elder Scrolls 6, the next Fallout, or anything like that. Obsidian remains within Xbox. There's nothing wild like 343 Halo Studios or the Coalition closing, but again, cuts are cuts everywhere. It says, as Schwarmer confirms, it has been clear for a while now that Xbox is not a healthy brand, and that's just so sad, man. And while it cuts deep, it seems the full scope of what was unprecedented before this is that Schwarmer gives out hard numbers, harsh numbers, in fact, like the fact that Xbox is operating at margins that are 3 times lower than comparable platforms and publishing businesses, and that in a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. That right, oh my Jesus, that right there is so damn crazy. And let me just break this to you. If this was Sega around the Dreamcast, they would be done. If this was even Nintendo, they would be done. The reason why I say that is because what's keeping Xbox alive is not because the hope and the fans and the little bit of people that are buying their games. Microsoft, the software company, is holding them still together. They're like this, Like it's almost like WWE, NXT. You got other brands, and then you got Evolve. Like we got Evolve in this bitch. Like I'm not trying to I'm not trying to downplay Evolve, but like Microsoft is currently like Evolve, WWE Evolve. They're like the Twitter championship belt. Like ain't nobody looking for that. And it's unfortunate because they make such amazing titles. They make amazing games. And seeing that they were only profiting like what 38 cents or something like that, or forgive me if I'm wrong, like 36 cents. That's sad. They were losing that much money. They were bleeding money. The original goal of buying up a bunch of studios and having them make smaller scale games did not pan out either. The sales side or boosting Game Pass signups. That's Game Pass really ruined them. I'm not gonna lie. They're gonna have to hold on to Candy Crush and COD Mobile. If they're trying to really reach the scale of making profits, those mobile games are gonna have to carry them. Which is insane. It says Game Pass is currently trying to claw back subscription after mass cancellations when it raised the price by 50%, although they did reduce the price back again. Source tells me that the main goal is to now focus on larger scale franchises, big core ones like Halo, etc., but also big acquired IPs, aka trying to get Elder Scrolls and Fallout games out more than once every 5 years. Thank you. Release Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. Release that bitch. Release another Fallout for the fans. I played Skyrim. I never played a Fallout game. I played like 20 minutes of Fallout 4, and I thought it was incredible, but I need to spend more time on that. Bring that out for the fans. I don't know why, whatever priorities you guys have, how come you're not bringing that out? It's insane. It says another admission is that Minecraft has grown stale and fallen significantly behind Roblox, which is crazy, which is looking to be rectified by Mojang, a mobile arm king, now reporting directly to Shawarma. It says, even in an industry that is no stranger to layoffs, this is one of the darkest days we've seen. Despite no closure or game cancellations yet, the sheer scale is absolutely brutal. The rebuilding path is now meant to begin under Sharma, excuse me. It says, who has been attempting to revert long-running Xbox issues from bad ad campaigns, poor brandings to that Game Pass price, and announcing that the return of at least some of the exclusives. But now, after these layoffs, the journey towards making Xbox what Microsoft and fans wanted to be is a process that will need to take shape over many, many years. So you guys got to be patient. We got to be patient. We got to pray for the third-party games to really cook. We got to make sure that everything, the ecosystem is healthy as heck. We got to make sure that people are being given what they want. And guess what? One of the first steps, and I hate to be that guy to say that, was bringing Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 to the PlayStation market. I'm very shocked that that's coming out on PlayStation. And is it not coming out for the Xbox Series X? Like they're not gonna bring the port over and just have it like that too? Because maybe Xbox and them guys need to like bring out these games, maybe some remasters, maybe some HD remakes, maybe some just ports to keep people kind of like busy. Unfortunately, you have to come up with a plan like that. In fact, when trying to reshape the scale and reset, you do got to invest a few more millions of dollars, a few more billions of dollars to introduce a new plan. And then it's almost like Netflix. Netflix was bleeding money, and they still currently bleeding money, but they're going way over positive. So for example, at one point, Netflix was just in a shithole negative, but then they started like acquiring so many big IPs, big movies. Now, yes, they are bleeding money, but they're making back so much money. They're in a better position now. That's how you make money. You got to bleed money to make money. So in this case, Microsoft, you got to do the same. So even to cut costs or to make things cheaper, port up some games. Port Modern Warfare 2. I hate to be that guy. Port these games, allow the new Call of Duties to make it make sense, have them go in a direction that's even better and beneficial for the ecosystem. I'm trying to think of ways for them to go about this, because for anybody out there that's like Xbox, man, we make jokes, but you don't want them to go. Look at what PlayStation is doing. You don't want these guys to go. You don't want Microsoft to go. When Dreamcast was done and we've seen less and less, we've seen what Xbox did. They basically dropped the Dreamcast, if you want to be honest. So you don't want to see a company be a monopoly. You don't want to see one company rise. I know there's some fanboys out there that really don't understand this, and they look at it like, well, that's good for them. Yeah, I get it. And PC gaming is the shit until it ain't, because PC gaming right now is dumb expensive. I be making myself laugh. PC gaming right now is super expensive, and we're going through unoptimization issues too with the games. There's games that just don't work. There's games that get delisted. There's games where they don't function properly, and then they get delisted, and your games get taken away too. This digital era that we in is very toxic, if I'm being honest. It says here, let me go ahead and continue reading. It says, no quick fixes. And all of this isn't even touching the issue of next gen Xbox hardware, which is like the rest of the industry has to deal with sky high production costs and consumers who do not want to spend double on consoles in a new generation. But Sony and Nintendo are trying to turn around 2 generations of poor hardware sales. Here's Usher Schwarmer's full statement. She gave out a full statement basically disclosing this partnership and just like letting everybody know how messed up it is that she has to make this decision, but she has to make the decision. She has to lay off all these people. She has to let people know you cannot hide behind it. I know Phil Spencer was really trying to give face to everything, but you can no longer hide behind it. She just gave it flat. Microsoft, we're doing so bad. Like, a lot of content creators are making more money talking about Xbox than they are making games and making money back from their games. So she has to be extremely blunt. She has to be honest. I can appreciate the honesty, but man, oh man, this is bad. This is like when you look up somebody's net worth and you realize they're actually in the negative and you thought they were rich the whole time because they be wearing chains and shit in their music videos. This is bad. This is very bad. So the subject of all this in her messages was called Resetting Xbox. You guys could look it up on Twitter. She put the whole post there as well. But this is one of those ongoing situations where Microsoft since 2013 has been in a shitty spot. Don Matrick completely shattered that console by saying, hey, if they don't want to deal with the cable and dealing with DRM and all that, they could always go back to Xbox. Microsoft has never had a true vision for Xbox. They kept it there for a long time, and once it was able to profit and make money with the 360, they went ahead and tried to honestly, they try to fuck that console up early. Excuse my language. They really try to shape it to be something completely different, and they try to like be greedy off of other areas of the ecosystem. However, it wasn't eco-friendly, and seeing that it kind of hindered every opportunity for them to grow. People catered to PlayStation more. They got memed, and look at today, PlayStation is still striving while also being hindered tremendously. So PlayStation is also on the run of looking really bad right now, hitting the negatives because they're not doing so well. And nobody wants to talk about the elephant in the room. RAM shortages, tariffs, we're screwed. Microsoft got put in a even shittier position because of that. PlayStation's in an even shittier position. They're a Japanese company, Japanese brand. So tariffs is gonna be hitting like crazy. Microsoft, you guys are gonna be dealing with so much cost. So like, I don't know what to expect, but drop your comments below. This is a terrible, terrible thing I had to read up on. And again, anybody who's laughing at this, excited for this, hey, okay. But just know when Sony goes, hey, our console's gonna be 1200 and games can't even run at 4K 120 still, that's on y'all. I'm out of here though. It's your boy 3MG. God bless everybody. And have a wonderful, wonderful week, okay? God bless. Peace out, chat.